पर मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद सलावत। गरीब ज़हरा की गुरबत सुनो, अहले अज़ा अकेला रह गया, मख्तल में जब मेरा मौला। सिपाहे शाम ने चारों तरफ से घेर लिया, लबे फुरात था हर एक खून का प्यासा, था गुल चरागे इमामत अभी भुजाना है, अरे ज़मीं पे ज़ीन से शबीर को गिराना है। ये सुन के संग किसी ने जबीन पे मारा, किसी ने पहलू में बरची का फल उतार दिया, अरे किसी ने सामने आकर चलाई तेग जफा, गरीब ज़हरा कज़ी पर संभलना मुश्किल था। अली ओ ज़हरा कुरान में रुलाया जाता था, अरे हुसैन गिरते नहीं थे, गिराया जाता था। लगा जो तीर तो असगर को शहर ने याद किया, पुकारा गाजी को जिस वक्त सर पे गुर्ज लगा, लगी जो बरची तो अकबर को दी तड़प के सदा, तमाचा खूली ने मारा तो बोले या ज़हरा, अली को याद किया सर पे ज़र्ब चलते हुए, हसन को याद किया मुँह से खून गलते हुए। ज़मीं पे ज़ीन से हज़रा जो मुँह के बल आए, जो तीर सीने पे थे पोश्त से निकल आए, निकल के पहलू से सब बर्चियों के फल आए, करार किस तरह अब शह को एक पल आए। रकाबे पैरों से इब्ने अली की छूट गई, हर तमाम पसलियां सिबते नबी की टूट गई। रकम किया है ये रावी ने दर्द का मंजर, के चलने वाला था जिस दम हुसैन पर खंजर। अरे बहन से आगे खड़ी थी हुसैन की दुख्तर, कहा ये शेम्र से उस दम गरीब ने रोकर। मेरी सकीना कहीं दम न तोड़ दे जालिम, तू रहम खा मेरे बालों को छोड़ दे जालिम। पड़ा था दश्त में बेजान बतूल का बेटा, हुसैन जिंदा है क्या शेम्र से किसी ने कहा। करीब जाके ये दी शेम्र ने फिर हंस के सदा, अरे वो देखो आ गई मख्तल में सानिए ज़हरा। ये सुनते ही शहे दिलगीर उठ के बैठ गए, अरे बहन के नाम पे शबीर उठ के बैठ गए। गरीब ज़हरा की गुरबात सुनो अहले अज़ा। बर मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु।
बारह दिगर नारे सलवात।
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आलि मुहम्मद व अज्जिल फरज।
हाय सजाद ने गम कैसे उठाए होंगे। हाय सजाद ने गम कैसे उठाए होंगे। लोग बाजार में ज़ैनब को जो लाए होंगे। लोग बाजार में ज़ैनब को जो लाए होंगे, याद अब्बास की ज़ैनब को सताती होंगी, याद अब्बास की ज़ैनब को सताती होंगी। लोग क़याम को जब लूटने आए होंगे, हाय सजाद ने सलवात पर मोहम्मद वाले
मोहम्मद वअज्जिल
भारत का नारा है सलवात।
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला मोहम्मद व आलि मोहम्मद वअज्जिल फरज।
भारत का नारा है सलवात।
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला मोहम्मद व आलि मोहम्मद वअज्जिल फरज।
अरबईं के सोगवारो अलविदा, आखिरी मजलिस है यारो, अलविदा आखिरी मजलिस है यारो, अलविदा खातिमा बिल खैर चहलूं का हुआ, अलविदाए अश्कबारो, अलविदाए अश्कबारो, अकबरो असगर अली की ज़ामिनी, नौजवानों शेरखारो, नौजवानों शेरखारो, कहते थे गंजे शहीदा पर हराम, फातिमा ज़हरा के प्यारो, फातिमा ज़हरा के प्यारो, करबला की खाकों सौंपा तुम्हें अर्श आज़म के सितारों, अर्श आज़म के सितारों, कब्र से आवाज़ देते हैं हुसैन, लो बहन ज़ैनब, लो बहन ज़ैनब सिधारो, अलविदा अरबईं के सोगवारो। फातिहा। सलवात बर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला
मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद वअज्जिल फरज।
बारह दिगर नारे सलवात।
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद वअज्जिल फरज।
कैद से छूट के आई है ज़ैनब, सदमे दिल पर उठाई है ज़ैनब, कब्र शैकी बनाई है ज़ैनब, कुछ यतीमों को लाई है ज़ैनब। कहती है रो के लो खबर भाई, खत्म अब हो गया सफर। मैं हूँ ज़ैनब, फलक सताई हूँ, तुमसे मिलने यहाँ मैं आई हूँ, और लुटे काफिले को लाई हूँ। भाई क्या क्या सितम उठाए, शाम तक नंगे सर गई ज़ैनब, क्यों ना पहले ही मर गए। उठ के देखो तो एक नजर भाई, टुकड़े सदमों से है जिगर भाई, हो गया है सफेद सर भाई, झुक गई है मेरी कमर। वादा पूरा मैं करके आई हूँ, पुश्त पर ताजिया ने खाए, सारे कुनबे को साथ लाई थी, मेहनतों से ये घर बसाई थी, मैंने दौलत ये माँ से पाई थी, हो गई दफन जो कमाई थी, अब हो क्यों कर मेरी बसर भाई, हाय किस मुँह से जाऊं घर भाई। थी मुकद्दर में मेरे रुसवाई, क्यों ना दरबार ही में मौत आई, पेशे हाकिम गई ये दुख पाई, गुस्सा आया था पी गई भाई, जो हुए जुल्म सह गई ज़ैनब, सबके रोने को रह गई ज़ैनब। क्या बताऊं जो गुजरे रंजों में हैं, बाजुओं में मेरे बंधी थी रसन, थे तमाशाई सारे मर्दो ज़न, लुट गई मैं शाह ज़मान, फिरी बाजार शाम में ज़ैनब, गई दरबारे आम में, मुझसे बरगश्ता थी मेरी तकदीर, महबूब की मेरी इज्जतो तौकीर, सर से चादर छिनी हुई तशहीर, फिरी बाजार में मैं हो के असीर, और भी कुछ सुनाऊं क्या भाई, अपने बाजू दिखाऊं क्या भाई।
Assalamu alaikum. So I just wrote a few verses on the night of Sham-e Ghariba. Molana, if I can have permission. The loud sound of battle was subdued by the quiet night. Bodies of Hussein's companions laid unburied after the fight. Hussein's head placed on a spear paraded from an ample height. The day longed to finish, could not endure this disgraceful sight. The sun refused to set, hindered by thoughts of Sham-e Ghariba tonight. The moon lit the sky, Sham-e Ghariba has come. Zainab must lower her guard, but will not succumb. Family of Prophet will not be treated with welcome. Zainab continues to remind who they are from. This apparently had no impact on the outcome. Yazid's army can be seen approaching Zainab's haram. Tents have been lit on fire, spreading through the haram. Shouting and screaming of children heard inside the haram. Zainab rescues families from the blazing fire of the haram. Yazid's army laughs and taunts as Zainab vacates the haram. Zainul Abidin is very ill, overwhelmed with shock. Zainab must assist. Sajjad cannot walk, his mouth so dry from thirst, unable to talk. Zainab prepared to support Imamat at every mark. She has the will of Hussein, Ali's everlasting spark. Glow on her face illuminates the surrounding dark. Zainab rounded the kids and was missing one at best. Sakina was nowhere to be found. Zainab now distressed. She called for Sakina among the bodies laid to rest. Zainab found Sakina sleeping quietly on Hussein's chest. Zainab asked Sakina how she found the body among the dead. Sakina said, Baba raised his arms, called me to put me to bed. Sakina sat there comforting her father Hussein. Baba, I will not let you go and leave me again. Baba, I will heal your wounds and take away your pain. Sakina looked and searched among the many slain. Pupi, help me find Baba's head to relieve his pain. Sakina shouted, Uncle Abbas, come carry Baba Hussein. Baba, they burned our tents. Where will we go? She complained. Zainab hurried Sakina, the army coming to detain. Zainab recalls Hussein slaughtered on Karbala's plain. Zainab vows that her brother's death will not go in vain. They all gathered for safety in a nearby vicinity. Kids were tired and fell asleep very quickly. Zainab stood guard, watching for an enemy. A carriage kept coming without any hesitancy. Stop, I demand, I'm the daughter of Hazrat Ali. Kids have cried for days, but now resting peacefully. Zainab became furious and demanded identity. Veil lifted, it was no other than Maula Ali. Zainab fell to the ground with tears and melancholy. Baba, you have come after what Yazid did to our family. Baba, they butchered Abbas, leader of our army. They slaughtered Ali Akbar, face of Prophet Nabi. They took our Ali Asghar, he was just a little baby. Baba, Baba, they beheaded my Hussein, sight you could not see. Baba, I saw mother holding Hussein, crying uncontrollably. I saw Sakina wandering in search of Hussein from body to body. Baba, they burned our tents. I've lost everything belonging to me. Baba, what have we done to deserve this injustice and tragedy? Baba, we are the family of Prophet. Why can they not see? Maula took Zainab in his arms and gave her sympathy. Zainab, you have nothing to worry. I'm here now to protect thee. Zainab fell asleep knowing she is protected by Maula Ali. We will always remember the suffering of Bibi Sakina. We will always remember the tragic ending of Karbala. The message of Zainab will not die by the grace of Allah. Brother Akhil has written a few words on Sham-e-Ghariba. Please recite Surah Fatiha for all the mu'mineen martyred in Karbala.
MashaAllah, thank you very much for that poetry, Dr. Akil. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you again for joining us on this night of Arba'een and the last of our lecture series with Sheikh Mehdi Hazari. On behalf of IEC, myself, and everyone here, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Your lectures have been both illuminating, enlightening, and very, very full of knowledge, and we thank you so much for accepting and coming here to help us. Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. I know I've been annoying you guys with programs and you guys think, okay, well, there's no more programs to announce. Little do you know. We have, inshallah, the next couple nights of Safar, we're finished with our Arba'een. We have many shahadats coming up in the next couple of nights, and inshallah there will be majalis here on all of those nights. Next will be Thursday, starting Thursday, September 30th, to Saturday, October 2nd, Majlis in English with Zakaria Ahlul-Bayt, Shabir Kirmani from Orlando, Florida. Inshallah, programming timing will be the same, 7:30 p.m. namaz, and 8 o'clock Majlis will begin. He will be here during a night of significance, Shahadat Janab Zainab, on Saturday, October 2nd. Please recite aloud salawat. And then after that, starting Sunday, October 3rd to Wednesday, October 6th, Molana Sayyid Absar Naqvi will be here from New Jersey. Majalis will be addressed in Urdu, and he will be here for the wafat of Prophet Muhammad and Shahadat Imam Hassan Mujtaba. Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. We hope you will join us for all of those programs. Inshallah, more information can be found on our website. Please visit that if there are any questions. With that, I would like to welcome Sheikh Hazari for his final lecture. Please welcome him with a loud salawat. Allahumma. Please move forward as much as possible. Thank you so much. Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala. Thank you.
الفاتحة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا رسول الله وعلى أهل بيتك المعصومين الأبرار الميامين المظلومين المضطهدين. السلام عليك يا مولاي وابن مولاي يا أبا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة يا غريب يا مظلوم يا عطشان كربلاء ما خاب والله من تمسك بكم وأمنا من لجأ والتجأ إليكم. يا ليتنا فيا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولنبلونكم حتى نعلم المجاهدين منكم والصابرين ونبلو أخباركم. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. والسلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. My dear brothers and sisters, it has been my distinct honor and privilege to be here with all of you, and I thank the IEC and the organizers for inviting me back again this year. I know you are all tired after a long day, so I promise not to take too long. But to finish up maybe a discussion we started and go in a slightly different direction tonight. The Holy Quran mentions that Allah is going to test us and continuously try us in different ways. It's related from a man named Safar. Safar was a companion of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And it's related that when the Abbasi Khalifa took Imam al-Hadi and imprisoned him, they say that Safar wanted to know what was the state of his Imam, of our Imam. And in those days, you could not announce that you were a Shia of Ahl al-Bayt. You couldn't openly state it. Today, we're free. We can practice, behave, be the way we want to. We have great freedoms in our country. But for many Shias, especially in the times of the latter Imams, they did not have the freedom that a lot of people have, especially in announcing that they are followers of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad alayhim as-salatu was-salam. So Safar wanted to see the state of Imam. So he would go and sort of walk around and see the prison area. The jailer who was there, he asked him as he came up, he says, how do you find yourself? Meaning when they would ask this, they wanted to know, who do you follow? So the companion, he says, I follow Amir al-Mu'mineen, meaning the Abbasi Khalif, because he didn't want to reveal who he was. The jailer, it turns out, was sympathetic to Imam. And he knew that the companion was a loyal trustee of Imam al-Hadi. So he says, don't worry, I know what you are saying to me. The companion asked the jailer, the warden or whoever was there, that is there some way to go? He says, yes, just wait. Right now, there is somebody in there, in the prison, they are giving him his food or something is happening. Wait till he comes out and then go in and say that you have been sent by me. They say some time passes, then finally Saqar goes inside, and when he comes inside the prison, he sees Al-Imam Al-Hadi alayhi salatu wassalam. He is sitting on the ground in the prison. Now, it's not prison the way we think of it. We cannot imagine what these were. These were essentially dirt rooms, if that. And in some cases, like in the case of Al-Imam Al-Kadhim alayhi salatu wassalam, they only would dig a hole in the ground, a narrow little hole that was wide enough to take a human body from side to side, shoulder to shoulder, and deep enough 6 feet to the ground almost that the person could stand, and they would put the person down into it. Imagine. It's like a tube in the ground, and they will just lower them. Imam al-Kadhim was placed into these types of prisons. And so when you come in, when he came in to see Al-Imam Al-Hadi alayhi salam inside the prison, he sees him sitting on the dirt, and he sees that a grave has been dug right next to him. Now, when he comes in, he sits down, he begins to weep. He begins to weep. And it's related that Imam sees him and consoles him. Now, Imam is in the prison, but he's consoling the companion. He says to him, look, Imam says to the companion, that look, we are all going here. And he says, what is it that they can do, the Banu Abbas, to frighten us? There is nothing to frighten us with because we know where we are going. There is nothing that will shake us. We know the outcome of what is in front of us, what we have to transpire through, and where we are going. This was the state of Ahl al-Bayt. And you see it, of all the A'imma al-Athar, this is how they were. The certainty in where they were going determined how they lived this life. Whereas for us, it's the opposite, isn't it? That when we live our lives thinking that we are going to live here forever. That's why we sow every seed that we have deep into the ground here. And any response that we get to trial and tribulation is because we do not have a concept or a perception of what may lie beyond death, what may be waiting for us on the other side. And there is a means by which your eyes can open. And that is the difference between believer and those who may not have as much belief, strong belief and weak belief, or belief and non-belief. Because not every Muslim is a believer. You know that. There are Muslims who commit tyranny and ugly acts, yet there's no belief in them. A believer is one who sees things that others does not see. And there is a means for you to open your eyes. That means is trial and test. So when you say in the holy ayah of the Holy Quran, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ حَتَّى نَعْلَمَ الْمُجَاهِدِينَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّابِرِينَ وَنَبْلُو أَخْبَارَكُمْ. The ayah is very clear. It says we are going to test you. We're going to test you. And we're going to test you. The word hatta is used in the middle of this ayah. In Arabic, when you say hatta, it means until. So if I were to say to you, I'm going to test you until you get an A, you know what? That you will keep being tested until you get an A, right? Or I will keep testing you until you pass the test. Same thing. When Allah says hatta, He means I will keep testing you until what? Until Allah knows which one of you is a mujahid. Now, when you talk about jihad in this sense, this is not necessarily going out to the battlefield, defending Islam and dying in the cause of Islam. Yes, it could be that. But the bigger jihad is jihad an-nafs, is it not? The struggle against the lower self that you're trying to fight against. And so the ayah very clearly, what does it say? It says, we are going to test you and try you and place difficulty on you until we know you have something in your nafs that will cause you to fight forward. And in addition to that, to know who is sabir amongst you. Now, these are fairly intuitive things that Allah is saying to us, isn't it? That the only way you know the mettle of a human being is by testing them. When things are easy and good, do you know the strength of a human being? No, you don't know the strength of a human being. And even today, us as parents, when we raise our children, and again I say this seeing that so many of you are fairly young and probably don't have children, but when you raise your children, or even you think of your own self, of the qualities you want to engender within yourself, you want to adopt within yourself, what are those qualities going to be? As a father, I call my son Ali, or I call my daughter Lama, and I will say to them, look, you need to be honest, yeah? First, you have to be Muslim, you have to be a believer, pray, do all those things. But when it comes to your character, make sure you're honest, yeah? One of the first things. You're compassionate, you're trustworthy, you have all of these qualities inside of you. You're loyal, you're true to your word, etc., etc. All of those things. You act with impartiality, any good quality you can think of. But do I raise my child to say, look, have all those qualities, but one very important quality that I want you to adopt that may not be so easy to bring into your character and to cause to be a part of your character is to be able to face trial. We don't raise our children to say, be ready for a difficulty to come in front of you. We really don't. Why? Because as parents, we want to shield our children. We want to say, protect them, don't let them come into any difficulty. And indeed, no one is saying that you should wish hardship on your children or on yourself, no. But hardship and challenge is a part of life. And what the beauty of hardship and challenge is, if you want to see a beauty in hardship and challenge, is that the ayah says, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ حَتَّى نَعْلَمَ الْمُجَاهِدِينَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّابِرِينَ. We will test you until we know those who do jihad from amongst you and those who are patient. Jihad and patience only comes when? When there's difficulty. So how will we know who of you is going to be on the right path, who is going to be in the eyes of Allah, the highest of the high, unless they're actually tested and tried? And that means you have to actually put yourself through difficulty. You have to accept the fact that difficulty is going to come. So imagine sitting down with your child, or even sitting yourself and reflecting on this and saying, Ya Allah, I know that difficulty is coming at some point in my life. I'm going to face it. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not shying away from it. That challenge will come to me in my life at some point. Ya Allah, make me of those people who pass through it with grace and honor. And have the patience so that we don't ever complain to you, Ya Allah. So that we always, in any state, any moment of difficulty, turn towards your door, right? And imagine just even the words of Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. I'm sure you all read Dua as-Sabah. That what does he say in Dua as-Sabah? قَرَعْتُ بَابَ رَحْمَتِكَ بِيَدِ رَجَائِي. He says, I knock on the door of your mercy with my hand that only seeks hope in you, Ya Allah. I'm knocking on the door of your mercy. Imagine. That is in every moment. Imagine you start your day this way, asking Allah. And in some way, maybe we need to change our mindsets. It's a strange thing because we do it in everything in life. I don't know if there are any engineers over here or really any profession. When engineers go and build a bridge, right? You design it perfectly. It's beautiful looking. You go ahead and you construct it. But what's the last thing you do before you actually let the cars or people go across it? You do a stress test on it, right? You have to do a stress test on the bridge. If the bridge can't take the weight, or if the bridge can't withstand a little bit of wind, or God forbid that there's, like in San Francisco, an earthquake, if it can't withstand that, what's the good in the bridge? It's useless. It has no resiliency. It doesn't withstand the stress. Same goes with you. You don't think the human state is the same way? Human nafs is the same way? That it is only when you are shaken that you know what you are, who you are, what you stand for. Does your character stay what it is? Do you stay on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do you adhere to what He's telling you to do? Or do you lose hope and you crumble in front of God? You go and you capitulate in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, no, I cannot take it. I'm going to be in despair. I'm going to throw up my arms. I'm going to wail. I'm going to complain. And this is going to be my state. If we want to be like Imam al-Husayn alayhi salatu wassalam, we want to have resiliency inside of us, strength, deep strength. And that means that we constantly must ask Allah that Allah, the trial that comes upon us, we are not asking you to put trial necessarily. We are saying, Ya Allah, when it comes, allow us to have what is needed to be able to come through it with grace. And you all know this, that Al-Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salatu was salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. It is reported that he says that when Allah puts difficulty on someone, it's because each human being has a station here, yes? And when he puts difficulty on you, bala or test on you, he opens up a higher station above of you. A spot opens up. And he tries you, he tests you, and if you are able to withstand it, go through it with patience, with thankfulness, then Allah will raise you up to that higher station. And the minute He raises you up to the higher station, what does He do? He opens up another station above of it. However, if you cannot withstand the next test, what happens to you? You either remain where you are or what? You fall. And that's why when you think of bala, think of difficulty, don't think of it as a negative sense necessarily. Think of it as a means by which you are creating resiliency inside of you, creating strength inside of you, and making it a means by which you can call on the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the example of Ahl al-Bayt. I will tell you a few things about the history, and we will finish insha'Allah tonight, on this last night. You want to talk about the most difficult of circumstances? Look at the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, who he himself describes that there is no prophet or messenger who was tested and tried the way I was, what I had gone through. Imagine. And then on top of that, to know that his very ummah is the one that's going to come out and kill his grandson on the plains of Karbala. Imagine. That one grandson that he grew up in the lap of Rasulullah, and who Rasulullah would say, Husaynun minni wa ana min al-Husayn. Ahabba Allah man ahabba Husayna. Husayn is from me and I am from Husayn. And Allah loves anybody who loves al-Husayn. This trial and test, you see, life of Fatima az-Zahra, 18 years old, 19 maybe, when she loses her life and leaves this world. And Amir al-Mu'mineen, when you talk about awwal madhlumin fil Islam, everyone, the first oppressed in Islam, that is Amir al-Mu'mineen. Indeed, because of the difficulty he faced after the demise of Rasulullah. Not only in the life of Rasulullah did he bear everything for the case and the cause of Allah's religion, but afterwards, the silence he adhered to, the strength he adhered to, and the way he described it himself, that I had one of two choices. Either to be patient, to stand up and demand my rights, or to remain patient and be silent. And it was hurting me like a thorn in my eye, pricking me on the side, paining me, this feeling. And I chose to remain silent and be patient. You see this resiliency inside of them. And when you get to Karbala, you see that the greatest act of patience is the act of Al-Imam al-Husayn. Don't be afraid of pain. Don't be afraid of suffering. We are scared to suffer, my dear brothers and sisters, because pain doesn't feel good. And again, I'm not saying that you ask Allah to make you suffer, or you don't ask Allah to remove the difficulty from you. No, ask. No one should want to be in difficulty. No one should deny themselves a desire to live peacefully, calmly, in comfort. If Allah gives that to you, surely. But don't be afraid to suffer. Don't be afraid to be in a state of trial and challenge, because that is growth for you, because that is a means of getting close to Allah for you. And if that comes in your life, it means it's an opportunity that Allah has given to you to get close to Him, to reach Him somehow, to catch on to His rope somehow. And to do so that because we are fallible, wash away the inequities and the ills and the mistakes that we have already committed. That's the opportunity. That if Allah places trial, He's giving you a chance to ask for forgiveness. After the events of Karbala, you know, they took them prisoner. Not only did they take them prisoner, from there they went to Kufa. They arrived in Kufa, you know this, close to the 19th of Muharram. Remained there for a few days, not long. And from there, the letter came. The letter went from Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad la'natullahi alayh to Yazid la'natullahi alayh, that I am sending them to you. In those days, there were 3 routes from Kufa to Sham. 3 routes, okay? One went along the Euphrates River. It was relatively short. And not only was it short, but in that route that went from Kufa to Sham, there were basically 3 areas that had been populated with people. Everything else was desert, wilderness. Nobody lived there. There was another route that was very direct, that basically went straight from Kufa, straight to Sham, immediately. It was very direct. Nobody lived there. It was quick route, went straight through. There was a third route that went up the Tigris River. Not the Euphrates, but the Tigris. And went up on basically what would be the western side of the Tigris River, crossed up into what is today Turkey, made its way up north through Sham, through what is considered to be north of Syria today, and then down towards Damascus. That place, the third route, was close to 1,300 miles, all right, 2,100 kilometers. And it had approximately somewhere between 35 and 45 resided areas, areas of civilization where people were living. Communities, tribes, cities, little villages. Yazid took them, 20 women. There were approximately 20 women at that time. 3 men approximately, Imam as-Sajjad, 2 attendants. Some of the numbers in the history vary. He surrounded them by hundreds of soldiers and made them march and took them on the longest route, 1,300 miles. It's documented. They traveled approximately 160 kilometers per day, all right? Not small amount, 160 kilometers per day. Stopping in each one of these villages, stopping in each one of these towns, in these tribes. Many of these places had people who would throw stones at the soldiers. They didn't like what was happening, and so they would throw stones at the soldiers. In many places, they were just garrisons, and they were basically the sabaya, the daughters of Rasulullah, were kept in a stable, for example, or a soldier's garrison. Imagine just putting them in there. And they were made to walk from place to place. And there are riwayat, there are historical events, accords of what happened at these different places. In one of those places, when they stopped, now imagine that you are the daughters of Rasulullah. Sayyida Kulthum, Zainab al-Sughra, you are Zainab al-Kubra, you are Layla, Rabab, Farwa, all these ladies who are there. You are being taken and marched and having the eyes of people on you. Some don't care, some are sympathetic to you, but some have animosity. And all the while, they are carrying the head of Abi Abdullah al-Husayn the whole time. It's related, they come to one place, and this path, this long path, it was called Tariq al-Jazira. It was a path that went up through Turkey and down through Syria into Damascus. At one point, they stop, and they come to a place called Hannana. They stop there. There's a monastery there. There's nobody else. It's just one monastery. There's a monk living in this monastery. When they stop there, it is almost nighttime. They're going to stay. The monk says, you can stay, but stay outside and leave me alone. It is related that at nighttime, the monk, he sees some light coming out of a box that the soldiers had. They are doing what they are doing, unconcerned. He goes to them. He says, what is in this box? They say to him, there is the head of a rebel who has been killed. We have placed it in the box. We are taking it to the Amir to show it to him as a prize. Ya Allah. The monk asks, he says, what's the name of this rebel? They say his name is Al-Husayn ibn Ali. He says, does he have another name? Who is his mother? The soldiers, they say, this is Al-Husayn ibn Fatima. This is Hussein, the son of Fatima. The monk, he's a Christian. He says, do you mean Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad, your prophet? They said, yes. He says, curse upon you. You are carrying the head of the grandson of your prophet in a box. He says, I have some jewels. I have some things with me. I will give them to you. Just give me the head just for tonight. Let me have it. The soldiers, greedy for those jewels, they take them. They say the monk, he takes the head of Al-Imam Al-Hussein. He takes the robe, his own robe, dips it in some water, dampens it, begins to wipe the dirt away. And wipes the blood away from the head. And he looks, and it is related, he says, Ya Aba Abdullah, Yabna Rasulillah, Ya'izzu alayya masra'uk. It hurts me to see what you have gone through, the tragedy that has befallen you, that you fought and died in this manner, and that I could not be there to answer your call. He says, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger. Some say he became a Muslim in that time. He became a Muslim. This was the tragedy of Karbala. This was the difficulty that they faced. But the thing that made Ahl al-Bayt is that they were not afraid of it. They did not run away from it. They did not say, Ya Allah, why did this happen to us? The answer of Sayyidah Zainab was, تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا هَذَا الْقُرْبَانِ. Accept from us this sacrifice, Ya Allah. If we want to be Husayni, that has to be our motto. That, Ya Allah, whether it is with my own peace, my own tranquility, my own happiness, my own comfort, if I forsake it for you, Ya Allah. That's why when that caravan left Sham, went to Karbala, and finally came back to Medina, they say the announcement was made by Bishr that they have come back, and the people began to approach to see what had happened. My dear brothers and sisters, when that caravan had first left Medina in Rajab of the prior year and gone towards Mecca, and Imam Hussein, Abul Fadl al-Abbas, Ali al-Akbar, a full caravan of men, children, women, the da'an that's moving towards Mecca was going, one person was left behind. And when that caravan was going forward, Imam Hussein is on his horse leaving. It's reported that he hears a voice coming from behind him saying, Mahlan, mahlan, ya Aba. Slow down for me, my father, slow down for me. He turns and he sees his daughter Fatima chasing after him. Ya Allah. And she is calling out, Khuduni wiyakum. خذوني وياكم أسرج الخيل خذوني وياكم أسرج الخيل ومد فراشكم لو جلجل الليل. Fatima bint al-Hussein, too sick to make the journey, chases after the caravan, leaving Medina for Mecca, saying, Ya Aba, Ya Aba, my father, take me with you. Do not leave me behind when you are going. Take me with you and with Ali and al-Asghar, my little brother. Imam Hussein, he got down from the horse. He told Fatima al-Alila that, my daughter, you are too sick, unable to make this journey. It will be too difficult for you. Stay behind. You cannot come. Only after much convincing did Fatima return back to Medina, anxiously awaiting for any news of what has happened to her father. Now finally, after all of those months, the caravan has come back from Karbala. And here is Fatima al-Alila saying, Ya hala bi'ammi Abul Fadl al-Abbas. Welcome, my uncle Abul Fadl al-Abbas is coming back. Ya hala bi akhi Ali al-Akbar. My brother Ali al-Akbar has come back. Ya hala bi umumti. My relatives, my cousins are coming back finally after all of these weeks. Ya hala bi walidi al-Husain. My father Hussein has come back. What answer is Sayyida Zainab going to give? Maybe وكأني بسيدتي زينب تأخذ بفاطمة العليلة إلى قبر فاطمة الزهراء. Maybe she took her and went to the grave of her grandmother Fatima al-Zahra and told her that all we faced after the demise of Al-Hussein was the hitting of the whips on our backs, the slaps on our faces, the stealing and robbing of our earrings and our possessions. The tents were burned on top of us. We were paraded in the streets. Ya Ummah, Ya Fatima, we have finally come back to you. And here is the shirt of your son Al-Hussein, drenched in his own blood. I have come to give you this news. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا آلَ مُحَمَّدٍ أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين إن لله وإنا إليه راجعون باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله. اللهم إنا نسألك وندعوك ونقسم عليك بحق الزهراء وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها لعن الله ظالميها. اللهم شافي كل مريض، اللهم رد كل غريب، اللهم فك كل أسير، اللهم غير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك يا كريم. اللهم وفقنا لمراضيك وجنبنا معاصيك وثبت أقدامنا على صراطك المستقيم وخذ بأيدينا إليك يا أرحم الراحمين وفرج عنا يا الله فرجا عاجلا قريبا كلمح البصر وهو أقرب من ذلك وافرغ علينا صبرا وتوفنا مسلمين. والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. Ya Hussein.
या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन। बाजार के मंजर को अपनोर अपने खुले सर को भूली नहीं मैं, बाजार के मंजर को और अपने खुले सर को भूली नहीं मैं, बाजार के मंजर को और अपने खुले सर को भूली नहीं मैं, अपने बंदे हाथों को बीमार के जेवर को भूली नहीं मैं, बाजार के मंजर को और अपने खुले सर को भूली नहीं मैं, बाजार के मंजर को और अपने खुले सर को भूली नहीं मैं। उठती हुई आंधी को वैशा को बायां बां को, छुपते हुए सूरज को तारीकी को मैदान को, चलते हुए खंजर को नेज़े पे तेरे सर को भूली नहीं मैं, बाजार के मंजर को और अपने खुले सर को भूली नहीं मैं। एक चांद था बदली में छुपता था निकलता था, पर्दा दर खैमा का उठता कभी गिरता था, वो खैमाए लैला से आए रुखसत अकबर को भूली नहीं मैं, बाजार के मंजर को और अपने खुले सर को भूली नहीं मैं, बाजार के मंजर को और अपने खुले सर को भूली नहीं मैं। फिजा को मेरा भाई माँ कह के बुलाता था, दम उसका मेरे भाई के नाम पे जाता था, रुतबे में जो माँ बन कर आई उसी मादर को भूली नहीं मैं, बाजार के मंजर को और अपने खुले सर को भूली नहीं मैं। लहराते हुए नेज़ा है शिमर का वो बढ़ना, आके मेरे पीछे हर बीबा का वो चुपना, शोलों में घिरे घर को छिनती हुई चादर को भूली नहीं मैं, बाजार के मंजर को और अपने खुले सर को भूली नहीं मैं। जिस रात मैं तन्हा थी उस रात के ढलने को, टूटे हुए नेज़े को उस रात के पहरे को, बच्चों के सिसकने को और खाके के बिस्तर को भूली नहीं मैं, बाजार के मंजर को और अपने खुले सर को भूली नहीं मैं। हुसैन 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 हुसैन। अब्बास 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 पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ। ज़ैनब ये रो के बोली भैया न दिल दुखाओ, ज़ैनब ये रो के बोली भैया भैया न दिल दुखाओ।
ज़ैनब ये रो के बोली भैया न दिल दुखाओ।
ज़ैनब ये रो के बोली भैया न दिल दुखाओ।
क्या देर का सबब है ये तो हमें बताओ।
क्या देर का सबब है ये तो हमें बताओ।
मशकी ज़फ़र के जल्दी दरिया से लौटाओ।
की ज़फ़र के जल्दी दरिया से लौटाओ।
बची की तशनगी को तुम आके खुद बुझाओ। अब्बास 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 पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ।
अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ।
वो गमज़दा यकीनन यादों में खो गई है।
यकीनन यादों में खो गई है।
वो गमज़दा यकीनन यादों में खो गई है।
यकीनन यादों में खो गई है।
बाबा को रोते रोते खुद थक के सो गई है।
रोते रोते खुद थक के सो गई है।
या तश्ना लब सकीना बेहोश हो गई है।
लब सकीना बेहोश हो गई है।
पानी का दे के चींटा तुम ही उसे जगाओ। अब्बास 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 पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ।
अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ।
अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास
पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ।
हाथों में खाली कूजे बच्चे लिए हुए हैं।
खाली कूजे बच्चे लिए हुए हैं।
हाथों में खाली कूजे बच्चे लिए हुए हैं।
खाली कूजे बच्चे लिए हुए हैं।
गिरदे सकीना देखो हल्का किए हुए हैं।
सकीना देखो हल्का किए हुए हैं।
बच्चे न जाने कब का पानी पिए हुए हैं।
जाने कब का पानी पिए हुए हैं।
बिन आमर न जाए पानी उन्हें पिलाओ। अब्बास 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 पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ।
अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ।
अब्बास पानी लाओ।
अब्बास पानी लाओ।
कानों में अल्लाह तश की आवाज आ रही है।
में अल्लाह तश की आवाज आ रही है।
कानों में अल्लाह तश की आवाज आ रही है।
में अल्लाह तश की आवाज आ रही है।
और उस पे फौज आदा ये जुल्म ढा रही है।
उस पे फौज आदा ये जुल्म ढा रही है।
उनको दिखा दिखा कर पानी बहा रहा है।
दिखा कर पानी बहा रहा है।
बच्चे शेख के प्यासे आदा को ये बताओ। अब्बास 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 पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ।
अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ।
अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास
पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ।
इस बेकसी पे हाय आता है मुझको रोना।
पे हाय आता है मुझको रोना,
इस बेकसी पे हाय आता है मुझको रोना।
किसी पे हाय आता है मुझको रोना,
पुरहोल है अंधेरा और खाक का बिछोना।
है अंधेरा और खाक का बिछोना,
सीने पे सोने वाली क्या जाने ऐसे सोना।
सोने वाली क्या जाने ऐसे सोना,
प्यासी है मुस्तरब है आकर उसे सुलाओ। अब्बास 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 पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ।
पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ,
अब्बास पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ।
अब्बास पानी लाओ,
हाथों में खाली कूजे बच्चे लिए हुए
हाथों में
हैं।
खाली कूजे बच्चे लिए हुए हैं,
हाथों में खाली कूजे बच्चे लिए हुए हैं।
खाली कूजे बच्चे लिए हुए हैं,
गिरदे सकीना देखो हल्का किए हुए हैं।
देखो हल्का किए हुए हैं,
बच्चे न जाने कब का पानी पिए हुए हैं।
जाने कब का पानी पिए हुए हैं,
बिन मर न जाए पानी उन्हें पिलाओ। अब्बास 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 पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ।
पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ,
अब्बास पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ।
अब्बास पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ,
उल्फत की आग दिल में पे हम लगी हुई है।
आग दिल में पैहम लगी हुई है,
रोजा तुम्हारा देखे ये हजरत दिली है।
तुम्हारा देखे ये हजरत दिली है,
रोजा तुम्हारा देखे ये हजरत दिली है।
तुम्हारा देखे ये हसरत दिली है,
जाहिर बने तुम्हारा ये ख्वाहिश ज़की है।
तुम्हारा ये ख्वाहिश ज़की है,
आंखों की तशनगी को तुम ही उसे बुझाओ। अब्बास 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 पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ। अब्बास पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ। वो गमज़दा यकीनन यादों में खो गई है,
ज़दा यकीनन यादों में खो गई है,
वो गमज़दा यकीनन यादों में खो गई है।
ज़दा यकीनन यादों में खो गई है,
बाबा को रोते रोते खुद थक के सो गई है।
रोते रोते खुद थक के सो गई है,
या तश्ना लब सकीना बेहोश हो गई है।
सकीना बेहोश हो गई है,
पानी का दे के छींटा तुम ही उसे जगाओ। अब्बास 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 पानी लाओ, 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 अब्बास पानी लाओ,
अब्बास पानी
लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ।
अब्बास पानी लाओ,
इस बेकसी पे हाय आता है मुझको रोना।
बेकसी पे हाय आता है मुझको रोना,
इस बेकसी पे हाय आता है मुझको रोना।
बेकसी पे हाय आता है मुझको रोना,
पुरहोल है अंधेरा और खाक का बिछोना।
है अंधेरा और और खाका बिछोना,
सीने पे सोने वाली क्या जाने से सोना,
सोने वाली क्या जाने से सोना,
प्यासी है मुस्तरब है आकर उसे सुलाओ, अब्बास 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 पानी लाओ, अब्बास पानी लाओ।
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وحبيبك وصفيك ونبيك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك، وعلى علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين، وعلى الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم وصل على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن بن علي المجتبى والحسين بن علي سيد الشهداء غريب كربلاء، ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي والمهدي الإمام القائم صاحب العصر والزمان، الأمان 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 من زوال الإيمان وفتن الزمان. عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل الله مخرجه، وجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه والذابين عنه والمسارعين إليه في قضاء حوائجه والمستشهدين بين يديه جميعا، ورحمة الله وبركاته. صلوات الله.